I am Mary Kramer with Imagine Miracles. My husband Vince and I are co-founders, and we are here today bringing the latest address from the Roundtable. The Roundtable is channeled by Vince, and we consider them to be our third partner in our company, albeit invisible, but by no means insignificant. As you get to know us, our programs and events, you will also enjoy the heartfelt guidance of the Roundtable, appropriately placed to bring you the highest viewpoint possible. Every month, we bring the Roundtable to our community called Imagine Nation Miracles. It is my pleasure to not only bring you the latest address, but I've asked Vince to join me in explaining some key elements of our work together. Please enjoy this and feel free to email us with any questions, or if you want to learn more how the Roundtable or how Vince and I can help you in finding the next big step for you to live the life the Roundtable talks about, you can email us at info@imaginemiracles.com. I'm going to read, as you can tell, this transcript because I want each one of you to get exactly what they are saying. Here we go. Good evening. It's been almost a month since we talked to you as a group. For those of you who have been attending the channelings every month, and there's a message that we would like to share tonight that opens the door to new possibilities, new beginnings, new beliefs, new understandings. And as we open the door for you tonight, we want you to think about your role in the new world. We want you to think about your role in the new way of being. Vince, why don't you bring us up to date on the new world, the new way of being, the new normal, and what we're all experiencing right now?
Well, right now, Mary, as you know, we're in the middle of the COVID virus, and the Roundtable has been talking over the last couple of months about what's happening. But the new normal is really stepping into who you are, really looking at what you're here to do in this world, and no longer live by the rules and the suffocation, if you will, of what we're experiencing in our world. And the COVID virus, as I think you're going to share as you go through the transcript, is really a wake-up call for us, and that is stepping into who we really are.
Exactly. We want you to think about your role in the new way of being. For some time, there's been talk through channels, through psychics, through the metaphysical world, that the opening was coming. Well, the opening has happened, and it's been here on the earth for many years now. But as the energy increases, there was a need for a wake-up call. There was a need to open your eyes to the new way, the way of unity instead of separation, the way of unity instead of duality. So many of you have had some wake-up calls along the way, but the world as a whole has been shaken. They've been forced to look at life in a new way. They've been forced to see themselves in a new way, experience their relationships in a new way. So the question is, what is your truth? As you begin to move into a space where you can ask yourself, what is my co-creation in this current experience? What was my co-creation, and why was that co-creation one of my reactions or one of my understandings from the place or coming from a place of the true you? Vince, you have to talk about co-creation and how we could possibly be co-creating COVID.
Well, if you look at energy as a whole, and the best way to do that is to look what quantum physics teaches us. And the quantum physics, you can really find the laws of the universe or the universal laws in the scientific teaching. But what we've learned from the quantum physics world is that as the observer of our life, we are truly creating our reality. which means that any experience or any circumstance that you have out in front of you, you've created somehow. So if there's other people involved in that circumstance, we each are co-creators in that circumstance. We may all have a different perception of it. We may all have um, a different lesson to learn or a different experience for us in it, but we are co-creators with the other people that are in that circumstance.
Big concept. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Many of you have experienced, especially if you've been watching the news, that there's many truths out there. And we want you to remember that the truths for each individual is very much that, their truth. There can be no judgment of their truth, just an understanding of where they come from in the moment they look at the circumstances in front of them, with a perception that allows them to have and support that truth. Last month, as we shared with you, we said that you are being lied to. We said that you are being lied to get your attention and to open the understanding that there are things going on in the world that if you choose to see, you will find empowerment. We want to clarify in this now that there are truly no lies. The verbiage, the statements, the directions that you get from the people in charge, from your neighbors, from the person at the grocery store who tells you to put your mask on or tells you to move away from them, all of that is coming from that person's truth. And what we're seeing right now in the world, but especially in your country, in our case, Vince, the USA, is that the truths of others aren't being accepted. What we're seeing is that many people are coming from the place of, I'm right and you are wrong. And Vince, I know you have a lot to say about truths and right and wrong.
Well, I'll try to keep it as compact as possible, but I think what the roundtable is sharing here is that we believe certain things in our lives, and because of those beliefs, because of our experiences, we look at life around us, we look at people around us from that filter, from our perception, and life is a certain way because of our perception, and it is real to us. So because it is real to us in the way that we look at it, and we believe that's the way it is, we have a truth. That's a truth for us. But that doesn't mean that someone else doesn't have different belief systems, hasn't been raised different, doesn't look at a circumstance completely different than us. And when they do, that is their truth. What they see in front of them, what they believe the world is their truth. Just because they don't line up, just because they don't match, doesn't mean one's truer than the other. And that's where where there is no right, there is no wrong that comes in the discussions that the roundtable have with us.
As we've shared before, and as Vince and Mary share in their programs, there are no rights or wrongs. There's your truth and there's someone else's truth. So we ask you to move into your truth and we ask you, what do you want that truth to be? What do you want to get from this wake-up call? How do you want to grow? What do you want your life to look like as we all come out of it? Are you going to be one that shares yourself in a way that allows the separation that's actually increased over the last several months to stay the same or maybe get worse? Or are you going to use who you are, what you have to offer, and how you show up in the world to close that gap faster to bring the world into unity? There was a lot there, Vince. What one would you like to take? We talked about wake-up calls and sharing and being of service.
You know, the thing that we're waking up to is that being of service, and the only way that we can be of service is to bring who we are to the world. And unfortunately, there's so many rules and regulations out there that we have taken from this person or that person. And in doing that, where we end up in a lot of cases is just living life the way we think we're supposed to, or looking at life around us and saying, well, I guess that's the best it's going to be, or that's the way it's supposed to be, or at least that's the way I was told it was supposed to be, even though I'm not living it that way. So the wake up call in being of service is truly finding yourself and living who you are in a way that supports you vibrationally and supports others also. And then knowing that your way is the right way for you, but not necessarily the right way for others, and the right way for others are not necessarily the right way for you.
Okay. We shared with Mary and Vince in a channeling just recently that one of the experiences of the coronavirus, the COVID 19, the wake up call, whatever you would like to call it, is the fact that you are learning just how much of an effect you have on each other, just how much the energy of you affects the energy of someone else, and vice versa. Can you imagine if the energy of you was shining your essence, of opening your heart, of showing the world your light, and that spread as fast as this current experience? One thing people wouldn't be talking about is flattening the curve, would they? To be honest with you, some would because they don't want to see that unity. They don't want to see each person helping each other. They don't want to see that because they believe they will lose their power. Again, Vince, there was a lot there. Do you want to talk about the shining out your essence and opening your heart?
Sure, Mary. The interesting thing is that we believe that we need to look or act a certain way, but there is that quintessence of us, that essence of us, that is the light that shines out into the world, and you can't help but let it shine out. It does it by itself, and it's very interesting. People feel that energy, no matter if you're talking to them, if you're even looking at them, they feel your energy. The two energy fields kind of interact. Well, they actually do interact, and because of that, you are already sharing yourself with the world. And in doing that, you're allowing others to share themselves. The thing that we run into and what we've experienced so many times is the people who need power, the people who believe that if somebody else is empowered in any way, they lose their power. That's where we get into that place of separation. It's mine and not yours. It's my way and not your way. And because of that, we forget that we all have, as the roundtable said, this energetic influencing on each other just by being, first of all, in close contact. But then, as quantum physics shares, it's called non-locality. You can affect somebody completely on the other side of the world just because you've had contact with in the past, and your experience in this now instantaneously has an effect on them. So they're trying to get us to understand that we are so entangled, and that's another quantum physics word. We're so entangled that anything that we do, any thought that we have, any words that we say affect the people, not just around us, but any of them that we've had contact with at any time. So it changes the whole fact. If you think about sitting in a room or having a toddy, if you will, and gossiping about someone or talking about someone, to realize that we have an effect on them just by talking about them in that moment.
I tell you, I just love how you bring quantum physics and spirituality together. It's really exciting.
Thank you.
The magnificence of all of it is they will lose their power if they believe it, and you will become self-empowered if you believe it as you shine your light out into the world. But it all takes you deciding your truth is that this was a co creation to open your eyes, to open your mind, to help you see where fear is still implanted in you and in your body to help you decide. Do I want a leadership that tears us apart, or do I want a leadership that brings us together? And how do I create it in myself so I can be responsible in creating it in a collective environment, in the collective consciousness? You are that powerful. You are that amazing. What you have to bring to the world is well beyond what you've ever imagined, each one of you. But you have to make that decision. You have to find your truth, and that truth has to support you. For you are worthy. You are lovable. You do know you can touch the hand of God because you're in it. You can touch the hand of Source. You can touch the hand of the universe because you are it. So the choice is up to each and every one of you. What do you do next? How do you shine in the world? How do you remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 40, 50 of the stones that you've piled to make that wall around you to justify the fears? Let's see, Vince, what would you like to share about that one?
Well, you tell me, Mary, what do you think that the listeners would like to have explained a little bit more in that paragraph?
Well, how about collective consciousness?
Certainly. So we can look at consciousness as what's in our awareness, what um, we bring into our awareness is our consciousness level. So in my consciousness, I have X number of things, X number of ways of looking at life. And each person has the same thing. We all have our ways of looking at life, what we're conscious of. The interesting thing is that as a group, we also have a consciousness, and it's affected by the people in the group. And how energy works is the overall energy of the group will be the combination of all the people together in that group at a certain energy level. They also have a certain awareness level. So the collective consciousness of the US includes our laws, the way we look at our leaders, our religions as they all come together, our beliefs and our righteousness is all part of that consciousness. So the collective consciousness is the awareness and the current way that a group looks at the situations around them, the perceptions they have of the circumstances that affect that group. I know that's a pretty deep explanation, but basically we are affected by all the energies around us, and all the energies around us with us create an energy, and that energy has its own set of perceptions, rules, beliefs, and the way that conglomerate of people look at life.
Thank you. Okay, and then they continue. For those of you who have shared channelings with us in the past, in the more distant past, you know that we've shared that the walls that you've built around yourselves, that was the reference to removing all the stones a little bit ago. They're built to protect your heart, and they don't keep anybody out. They still get to you because where do they come in? They come in and they talk to the ego. They come in and they talk to the pain body. What those walls that you've built around you do is keep your light in, and that can be stifling. So what would you like to say about the walls around our heart and the ego and the pain body? That's a lot too.
I think that's very important what you just said, Mary, because as they addressed it, they never really said walls around your heart. They said the walls around you. And really, when they're talking to us, they're talking to us as our energy, our quintessence, that energy that we are. So when they see a wall around us, it's the wall around our light. So we do build walls around our hearts. We protect ourselves. We find ways all the way through our childhood, even into adulthood, where we get hurt by people or where certain things hurt us. We don't really get hurt by people. We just are hurt. And then we believe that that person or that action created the hurt. But it's the feeling that we get, not necessarily what somebody did to make it happen, if you will. So we build up this wall, and what they're trying to share with us is that people get to us all the time, and they get to us in that 3D world, the personalities that we have. Our main personality and our sub-personalities, their main personality and their sub-personalities, they talk. I mean, that's how we communicate. That's how things happen in our lives. And we believe that, well, if my heart's protected, nobody can hurt me. But the hurt doesn't come here. This is, if you let your light out, it's a wonderful shield. It just resonates out, and nothing gets in to hurt you because it's resonating out the light. The hurt all comes up here, and that's what they were explaining and talking about the ego and tearing the wall down.
And what about the pain body?
The pain body, that's pretty interesting for those of you who are familiar with Eckhart Tolle. He made the pain body pretty famous. If you look at energetic bodies, if you will, so we've got the mental body, the physical body, we've got the emotional body. For those of you familiar with the chakras, the energy systems are, that vibration is associated with an energy level that comes out from you. So the energy bodies. Well, the ego is really truly a physical being in itself, if you will. And the physicality of the ego also has its emotional body. And its emotional body is called the pain body. And the reason it's called the pain body, remember, the ego is formed by fear, the worry that you carry in your beliefs. It's all there to protect you. So it's come from things from the outside that as a child or even as a young adult, you didn't know how to take care of with your main personality. So you formed another personality to take care of it. So the ego's formed by those, I'm going to call them lower vibrational emotions. And that's what you see in the emotional body, the pain body of the ego.
Thank you. So they were talking about with the walls that we've built around us, as we've explained around our heart, you do keep your light in, and that can be stifling. There's only so much energy that your body can handle. And if you continuously keep your light in, it's going to rebel. So we ask you, where do you shine your light? What are you willing to do to find yourself? Are you willing to say that I see no fear because I love my brother? Are you willing to say there's no need for me to be quarantined or locked away or put under house arrest? I always call it that. Because I love my sister? We're not saying rebel. The laws of your land were brought about to protect the collective. Are they all perfect? No. But they're the laws and the rules that you chose. So we're not saying disobey the law. What we're saying is find the strength and empowerment inside of you. Open yourself up to who you truly are. Find a way to understand what you're here for in this world And then as you find the empowerment of yourself, the collective energy will raise in vibration. And you will find those leaders who want unity. You will find those leaders who aren't afraid that they're going to lose their power. You'll find those leaders who understand that there's enough abundance in the universe, in your world, in your country, for everyone. Wow, I think that was pretty inspiring. How about you?
Well, definitely inspiring. You know, what they're saying to us is that as we raise our energetic vibration, as we find ourselves, as we learn what we have to bring to the world, and realize that when we come from lack, we just keep things away from us. But there's plenty of abundance out there for all of us. There's plenty of opportunities for us to experience a happy, healthy, joyous, abundant life if we just believe and understand that we are the creators of our life, as they said earlier in the channeling. And in that, we are going to attract and be able to experience the life that we're meant to live. But if we um, do that, the benefit of that is now we start attracting people who come from the same level of consciousness, like we were talking about earlier. And when they're coming from that level of consciousness, they're not worried about being more powerful than the person on the other side of the aisle, or getting everything for my constituency, no matter if it hurts someone else. Now we're starting to attract leaders that understand that there is plenty of abundance for everyone. And in that, now we can come from a place of rising up as individuals, but also raising the collective up in a way that we can experience life in unity, like they said, you know, common unity and community, working together to have this abundant life, working together to experience the joy and happiness that we all deserve.
Thank you. But you must live your gifts and talents to start the process rolling. Remember, all the transformation has to come on the inside before you're going to experience it on the outside. And if you start to experience the transformation that's happened because of the people who have awakened, who are sharing their light in the world, who are living their gifts and talents, and bringing their divine intent to the world in a way that's helping others do the same, the energy that you experience on the outside of you is going to be greater than the energy on the inside of you, the vibration on the inside of you, and you'll have a choice. Raise your vibration or be incompatible with the vibration of the world as it rises. There was a lot in that one. So let's start with gifts and talents and process.
Well, we each have a set of gifts and talents that are uniquely ours when you bring them all together. So what I think the roundtable was sharing with us there is that for us to experience being empowered, for us to experience joy, happiness, security, fulfillment, we have to share those with the world, because that's one, what we came here to do, but two, it's who we are. It's what we've developed ourselves as all the way through our lives. So if we're not sharing that part of us, then what is there for us to bring joy into our lives? If we're trying, and everybody's done this, well, maybe not everybody. A lot of our clients, I've done it. I know, Mary, you've done it. We've spent a lot of time trying to be like someone else because, well, they're happy or they're successful, or grandpa or dad or mom told you you should be like that person. So we've spent so much of our time trying to be like someone else that we leave the true us behind. And how are you going to be happy being someone else when you've already created this magnificent you? So I think that's what they were sharing with the gifts and talents. you've got to live those. You've got to understand just how magnificent, how magical you are, because the world needs you for who you are and not for someone else. But once you find that in yourself, now what do you start to do? You start seeing it in others. And even when they're not showing you who they are, they're not being their magnificent, you see them for who they are. So you're seeing them in a higher vibration, if you will, as a better person than they might be illustrating in their actions or their words.
I think we all definitely can start to understand that one. And they mentioned divine intent.
Well, the reason they use the word divine intent, and it's part of our programs, is because we we came to life with a mission, a purpose, and if we came to this world with it, we brought the highest energies into the world with us. And so that's why they're calling it the divine intent. That's what you're here for. And it wasn't something you just showed up and, okay, I'm here. What's my job? They're suggesting and they're giving us an understanding that we bring that in with us. We bring our mission in with us. And once again, that's why it's so important not to try to be like someone else, or belittle or push aside the things that you're really good at or the things that you really enjoy doing, because that's what you're here to share. That's what you're here to experience. And that's why they want us to know that we have to live our life for who we are. And it's important to learn how to do that, and it's not easy because we've been taught to emulate our sports stars. We've been taught to emulate our elected officials in many cases, our CEOs. And there's some great CEOs, there's some great politicians, there's some great sports stars. But if you're trying to be them, you'll never succeed and you'll never be happy.
Thanks. They're going to talk about the higher self. So why don't you go ahead and just talk about the higher self, and then we'll get back to the transcript.
So as they're going to address the higher self, that's the part of us that's non-physical. It hasn't, we've got the physical part of us and the non-physical part of us, and it's very important to hear part of us. So we're the whole of that, and that higher self, is they're going to talk about it. Some people call the soul. Some people look at it in a way that it's their intuition. There's a lot of names for it, but really that's actually that part of us that hasn't forgotten everything that we knew before we came to earth, and it has that contact and knows all the answers. um, I would say through Imagine Miracles, our belief and what we like to share is your higher self is really creating the circumstances that you experience in your life. So you have an opportunity to develop your gifts and talents, to uncover them, and to really fine tune them into what you're here to share with the world in your process.
And I want to add to that, in those circumstances are developed to stay on your path of your purpose, your divine intent.
Yes, to definitely to get us on our path, or to keep us on it, like you say.
And sometimes nudge us back on. Okay. So they were talking about raising your vibration to be compatible with the vibration of the world as it rises. And then your higher self. And as you as a 3D body would have a choice, do we find a way to raise our vibration, or do we leave this earth plane? That's how the vibration works. That's how energy works. So we are sending you a transmission of energy to help you find the strength, to help you find the courage to ask yourself, well, what life do I want to live? How do I want to show up in this world? You can be the point of the spear, you can be the leading edge, or you can be part of the mass that comes along behind. As you can tell, there's never any judgment with the round table. Vince, did we talk about vibration? Do you want to mention that a little bit more, the higher and lower vibrations?
Well, as all energy, we vibrate. We have a frequency, and the higher vibrations are those vibrations where we're more in touch and in tune with who we are. We're experiencing those uh, emotions of joy, of gratitude, of happiness. And that when you raise the vibration, now you're experiencing the higher octaves, if you will, of emotion. You're experiencing the higher octaves of the energies of everything. And to create the things that we want in life, we have to hold the vibration of that. So really what the round table is sharing with us is to understand that as one energy and as the energy of who we are, it is essential for us to step into that place where we are joyous, we are happy, we are healthy, because in that space is where we really can create with others a collective vibration that's higher. And what they were saying in those last few sentences there is that um, when you have a higher vibration and a lower vibration, there's incoherence there. And that incoherence can cause illness, can cause suffering, can cause um, behaviors, if you will, that aren't in alignment with who you truly are. So it's actually showing you the lower vibrational experience of yourself in the world. And that difference in the higher and the lower is what's causing those lower vibrational emotions. That's pretty heavy duty. It's something that we spend a lot of time with in our courses to help people understand those differences in how to use it as a communication system. But just know that when you're unhappy, when you're angry, when you're in despair, especially when you're in fear like we've been with the virus and what's going to happen, and am I going to die, and am I going to lose any of my friends, and when am I ever going to get out of this house, when you're in that lower vibrational um, emotion, it's showing you the difference of who you are in that current experience and who you really are in life. And that's what we want to help you find as we go through the work and Imagine Miracles. You know, what is that real you? What is that true you at that higher vibration? Because you deserve to live that life. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be joyous. You deserve to be content and fulfilled. And it's just keeping us there. We're keeping ourselves there actually because we hold all these old beliefs, or we are continuously allowing the collective energy or the individual energies around us to bring them back into that space.
Thanks. Okay. We were talking about you can be the leading edge or you can be part of the mass that comes along behind. But the question is, do you want to move into the higher vibrations? Do you want to do that by living the life you're meant to live? Do you want to do that by fulfilling the divine intent that you came into this work or world with? Do you want to live and abide by and honor the collective agreements that you have had with the whole of the 7.5 billion people on this earth? Do you want to live your soul agreements with those people who come into your life? To help you create situations, circumstances, opportunities that open you up to more of who you are. Do you find the gift in those and then grow from, as we've shared many times, there are no mistakes or coincidences in this universe. You're on this call to be called to make the choices to choose you, the true you, the high vibrational you. And we honor you for allowing yourself to hear the call. And we can tell you from our perspective, you've already answered it. The choice is, do you see your free will to move from the you that you see in the mirror now to the you that you have already chosen to become? And that's what you were talking about, Vince, that using the emotional scale, when you're feeling that low vibration, you're not experiencing the you that you've become. That's a huge concept. I don't know if you want to go into that just a tiny bit more or not, but they mentioned it.
What they're sharing there is that it's just truly changing your level of awareness. So taking in what they're sharing with us, understanding what and how energy works, how we're all one in the world, we're all one in the universe, and taking that information and that level of awareness and living from it. And when we do that, now we can't help to move up from the lower vibrations. But basically, what it comes down to is uh, we all do come from that one energy. It's a holistic and a holographic universe. Every part of the universe is reflected from us, and we are part of the universe. There is no separation from that. And in understanding that, that's where we can realize that we are high vibrational, and all we have to do is have the awareness to step into it. And then when we do that, we're going to experience what is our birthright. You truly came here to have a great life. You came here to experience it in a way that allows others to have a great life, and they all may look a little bit different. The child that dies at a young age, our definition of great might not be what that child's definition of it was as that higher self energy. But in its experience, I am almost assured, I can't give you 100% guarantee of it, but I'm almost assured in that experience that that young child accomplished its mission here on earth. Even if we didn't think what its experience was fair, it 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 accomplished its mission. So in that, it's at a higher vibration in its accomplishment.
Wow. There, that takes some acceptance, doesn't it?
It does, it's like, although we're talking at a spiritual scientific level, it's much like religions. There's some things that you just have to have faith, because our brains can't understand it. The human brain cannot grasp some of the concepts. A perfect example of us not being able to grasp concepts, much of our dream time is energetic influx and understanding of what some of the energies like the round table are bringing to us to help us expand, to help us grow. And when you wake up and immediately you forgot anything that was going on in your dream, that's the difference in the vibration of who you are in the now, and the vibration that you're experiencing in your dreams. So all of that is really showing us that we're capable as an energetic being to understand all of it, but especially in our conscious day-to-day life, we're only able to absorb or understand a small amount of it. So there has to be some faith.
Thank you. Okay, so that was their address. And then I mentioned that we have this monthly community call with the roundtable. So that address was, roughly, I think it was about 18 minutes. I'm not too sure. But then they answered questions from the callers for over an hour. And they answered questions, they did some coaching. So this is their summary. And again, this happens every month, usually a little different topic. And the questions that people bring always cause an expansion. Would you agree that the questions are pertinent to every single person on the call? It doesn't matter who asked it. And somehow it causes all of us to come together and expand as one at the same time.
I agree. Yes.
Okay, this is the ending. Well, we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us this evening, giving us the opportunity to share with you, to answer your questions. There are amazing things coming on Earth. That's good to hear. You each have an opportunity to decide if you're the leading edge of that, or if you're the point of the spear, or you're the one that's going to decide that it's time for me to live from the place of intent, from the place of strength, from the place of love, because that's where your strength comes from. That's where your empowerment comes from. Comes from that place of holding the highest vibration that you can hold in any moment. Allowing yourself to dip from time to time in vibration, and understanding that that's part of your journey in developing your talents and gifts. That's part of your journey of finding out who you are. That's part of your journey to be enabled to experience the full, as we said earlier, energy stream of yourself. From the lowest vibrations to the highest vibrations, the highest octaves, and then to shoot right through that as you expand the energy stream of you and you expand the energy stream of the entire universe. We honor you for being the creating part, the expanding part of all the energies of the universe. We are here to support you in your journey. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to honor you and love you and sit with you at the table as equals in this, thus the round table. From King Arthur. Now, in every moment, we love you. Namaste. So Vince and I hope you loved that as much as we loved sharing it with you, and asking Vince questions and listening to him respond. I know I did. It was really a highlight to get to share this. We thank you again for joining us, and we encourage you to take advantage of an opportunity if you are interested in this work and what the three of us are bringing. There's a 20-minute call that you can have with me, and it's called Your Life, Your Way Breakthrough Session, to find the next best step in living the life you are meant to live. And you can get in contact with us at Imagine Miracles. That's the website. We have a general email, info@imaginemiracles.com. And also you can find several other pieces of information. There's videos on YouTube, etc., and we're on Facebook. But we look forward to hearing from you. Please email us with your questions or comments, info@imaginemiracles.com. And if you would like an opportunity to join this free community call with us, of course, Vince will be there, bringing forth the roundtable. I will be there. And if you're also interested in private conversations with the roundtable, that can be arranged as well. Until next month, we look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you.
I want to thank you too. It has been wonderful to spend some time with you and to share the roundtable information as Mary has. And once again, right on that imaginemiracles.com page, there's a section for you to fill out that will get you started in the process to meet with Mary on that breakthrough session.
That'd be great. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.